Spurs lose late at Anfield, but Chelsea, City, and Leicester all drop points. The first manager is finally sacked, and are United now title contenders? We still down here in the Rat Tail Bunker, and this is the Boys and Bolos podcast. Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. My name is Jeff. I'm here virtually with my co-host, Jarrett.
I'm here. I'm in the bunker in spirit, but I'm not physically there due to a snow.
It's not COVID that's keeping us apart. It's the inclement weather. Although, I think the roads are pretty cleared. And I cleared your parking spot off. You're welcome.
Oh, my parking spot. I'm waiting for the little placard that says, Boys and Bolos co-host, please park here. Instead of do not park here.
Yeah, like you get angry when somebody's parked in your spot.
Yeah, like sometimes I come over and I'll see one of the grandmas there and I'm like, ugh.
Get out of my spot.
They didn't see the Google Calendar. We're recording tonight.
Jarrett, this is a quick turnaround week. We had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday matches this week. How did you feel about it? Actually, I know how you felt. You didn't feel good because Wolves beat Chelsea.
It started off with a swift kick to the groin.
Kick to the nuts.
Once again, Chelsea comes out. We look good, and we lose.
The big theme of this midweek matches, and you can probably kind of expect it, is mediocrity.
I think the big theme is lost points.
I guess that's what I mean, is like there's a big, just everybody's kind of the same from like second or third place to like 14th place, basically. It's like everybody has 20 points now, it seems like. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, Tottenham's on 25, played 13 games, and you can go all the way down to Aston Villa that have 19, but they have 2 games in hand, so they could easily have the same points as Tottenham if you take into account that they win. So that's 2 to 11 is almost in the exact same position on the table, which is insanity.
Wolves beat Chelsea 2-1. Liverpool beat Spurs 2-1. It was not a good week for us, midweek for us. We have a tough game this weekend. Dropping points to Liverpool at Anfield was kind of my prediction, I think. I think it was
you
your
predicted
prediction
that
as well. It was pretty devastating because it was in the 90th minute off a Firmino header, but
City dropped points to West Brom.
Yep. They tied 1-1. I was surprised that Everton won. Honestly, I thought that game was going to end in a tie.
The sham no more. They're looking good.
They're looking good again. Richarlison looking good. Just like I said, Richarlison, he's the linchpin of that team.
He's
Calvert-Lewin too. He's so important, though, for that team. But Leicester, I thought they were surging, had a few good results, and, we're in second or third for a time, and now they've dropped. So we're playing them this weekend. Spurs playing Leicester this weekend. They looked solid against Liverpool, so I'm not too worried. Son scored again. I thought Bergwijn, any other day, may have finished those chances. So any other games that surprised you, Jarrett, this midweek?
I was surprised.
Ooh, were you surprised about Leeds?
That's what I was going to say. I was surprised Leeds scoring 5 goals. But when we talked about that earlier, you said that had been a long time coming because they're always hitting the post, which is so true.
Yeah, but they hit a couple like crazy.
They had that bomb we watched, the 5th goal. I think that was Harrison.
Harrison, yeah.
If you haven't seen that goal, fire up YouTube and just watch the Leads and just scrub to the end of that highlight reel. Obviously, the game is over. Newcastle's packing it in. It's one of the last moments of the game. Came in the 88th, 89th minute. But he carries it about 60 yards and then just bangs it. Like, the goalie had 0 chance. It was a world-class finish. And actually, on finishes, I will note that Son won the Puskas Award for 2020, so the best goal in the world.
Yeah, it was from last season when he scored that. He just basically beat every Burnley player, just ran through every player, and then just finished clinically. It was
kind of like that, but this shot was from like 30 yards out on the dribble. It was unbelievable. The Jack Harrison shot.
Oh, yes, the Jack Harrison shot. Right. I was talking about the Son goal.
Yeah, no, not the Son goal. That would probably be the only thing that surprised me. Everything else was kind of par for the course for the midweek. That was the only thing that surprised me, the 5-2. I thought Newcastle would play him tighter than that.
They did for the most part. I mean, it was 2-1, and then it was 2-2 for a while, and then Hernandez came in like the 83rd minute, and it kind of changed the dynamic of the game. I don't think Newcastle had an answer for all their attacking options. They can just play in 90 minutes, They don't let up. So they finished their chances. They stopped hitting the woodwork and won 5-2. It was good to see. I think they deserved 3 points. I think they deserved 3 points against Arsenal, like I said last week. Leeds are going to have, Spurs play Leeds in a few weeks, and I'm very nervous about that game just because of their counterattacking style, very dynamic. But they still have defensive woes. They're not very sound on set pieces and that sort of thing. But anyway, I'll just go through. Maybe I'll just hit the table. Liverpool now sit 28 points, top of the table. Tottenham in second with 25 points. Southampton in third with 24 points. Leicester in fourth with 24 points. And Everton in fifth with 23 points. And Man United with a game in hand, 23 points in sixth place. They won today. They beat Sheffield. I mean, it wasn't that surprising. United are, I don't know, are they figuring it out, Jared? Are they not playing any good competition? What's the deal here?
Well, this is actually one of the questions that I have. Yeah, is United a title contender?
A title contender?
Yeah, I know, it's wild. I was looking at
That's
it, though.
wild.
Because we talked about on the previous pod how we think they're the best team currently in Manchester. And once again, that could change week on week. But when I look at the table, they're 23. If they win the game in hand that they have, if you assume that they win the game in hand, then they have 26, and then they're in second place.
Fair. That's fair. They have the best midfielder probably in the league right now in Fernandes. If Rashford starts scoring more goals, if Martial finds the net like he did today, more games, I think they're dangerous. If you go back and you listen to our preview of the season, I picked them to finish in second just because of the surge and kind of the after Project Restart, they look really good. And then they added some players. They had Tellez and they added Van de Beek. I thought that was going to be kind of more firepower for them. Van de Beek, I don't know if he's not going to work out, whatever, but it doesn't look like they need him. Pogba's going to stick around, I think, for the rest of the season and then leave in the summer. So they're going to have him continuing to contribute. Yeah, I mean, if Rashford, Fernandes, Maguire stays solid in the back, they had Tellez playing over Shaw. I think Shaw's an okay sub in like Europa League games that they're going to play now. And they're going to be competing in Europe, FA Cup. I'm not sure if they're still in the League Cup. But, we'll see how it shakes out after the winter. I think we'll know when they start playing the top 6 clubs if they're the real deal or not.
It's something that I just was thinking earlier, and it kind of hurts me to say that they could be title contenders, but even though they are a sieve in the back and Harry Maguire's a Easter Island head and Wan-Bissaka's a hack, they figure it out and they score goals and they play together as a team. I don't know. It's a question to be asked, and I think they're going to hang around longer than anyone wants to be a title contender, to potentially be in the title race. But if you look at today's game with Sheffield, the third goal that Rashford had, Ramsdale just fell apart. And the second goal that Martial had, Ramsdale fell apart. Right. He just was caught in no man's land in both goals. And the third goal, especially, the ball just went through him. Yeah. So I really think that game should have been a lot closer than the score shows.
Not to mention that Sheffield, in the second half, missed a few open chances that they should have scored on. I think Henderson looked kind of shaky, especially with like controlling the ball and playing the way that De Gea doesn't really play, and that's trying to pass out the back. I mean, the first goal was because they tried to pass out the back, and one of the Sheffield players just stole it from him and passed it to McGoldrick, and he slotted it away. I don't think he looked particularly impressive, Henderson, but maybe that's just because he doesn't play a lot. He might need more games under his belt just to get that confidence back. You shouldn't be giving up. If you're a title contender, you shouldn't be giving up 2 goals to Sheffield. That's kind of how I feel about it. And so to answer your question, the way that Liverpool played, the way that the amount of depth that they have, I think Liverpool's really the best team in Europe. Well, one of the best teams in Europe with Bayern. They're easily the best team in the Premier League. I think it's Liverpool's title to lose this year. They've got a shaky record away from Anfield. They'll find ways to win away. They looked good against Tottenham, so I think it's Liverpool really who are the title contenders. Maybe Tottenham as well. It depends if Tottenham they need to get better, more clinical with finishing, because they're not going to have as many chances as Liverpool creates. And so that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't think they're title contenders. United fans can be mad at me if you want. I don't know.
I think United fans won't be mad. I think they're fairly honest with what they have and they see what's going on. But United, I think,
top 4 for sure, though. Top 4 for sure.
Top 4 for sure. I don't see a way that they're not with the way they're playing. But I don't know. It's just a very interesting thing. United, on this pod, we predicted that Ole would have been fired after the Manchester derby. And that didn't happen. And even weeks before, there was all this talk about Ole. And so one of the questions I have after this week is, are we surprised by Simon Bilic's firing? Because he ties City, a team that probably has literally 40 times, maybe that's hyperbole, but a large amount of times more money on the field than his team, and to get a tie against them, I thought would be a pretty good case scenario, and you wouldn't fire him. But he's sacked right after that game. And so did that surprise you? For me, it surprised me. If you lose to Brighton 5-0, then he gets sacked. But when you tie City, getting a point that you probably, when you sit at the whiteboard at the beginning of the season, you say, these are the points we need to get so we can stay up and be competitive. They're praying to get a point at City, and they got it. So I don't know why he gets sacked there.
I think that it was in the plan. It was in the plans before the game. So no matter what the game outcome was going to be, even if they pull out a win, that he was gone. They were talking to Sam Allardyce before that. I'm sure that they saw his record of pulling teams out of the bottom 3 out of relegation in past seasons. He's probably our best chance at not getting relegated, regardless of what Bilic has done for us. And what he's done for that team is incredible, because that team basically has no money, and they finished second in the championship last year. It's not easy to do. I mean, if they can bring in Sam Allardyce and keep them in the Premier League, I guess it's worth it. I don't know if Bilic could do that, can do that. So it did surprise me a little bit, because I didn't know that they were talking to Sam Allardyce. He only popped up in social media and in the news once Bilic was fired, and then they're like, "Oh, Sam Allardyce," and then everybody's like, "Oh well, they were talking to him before." So
yeah, it came really quick. His appointment was super quick, and the stat is that Sam Allardyce has never been relegated from the Premier League, and in 08-09, he took Blackburn from 19th to 15th. He came in and took Sunderland from 19th to 17th. He took Crystal Palace in 2016-2017 from 17th to 13th. And more recently, he took Everton from 13th down to 8th. Obviously, Everton weren't in a relegation, but moving them 5 positions up the table, coming in as a caretaker, is really impressive. I mean, he has the pedigree and the resume to be able to do that. We always talk about you can only do so much as a coach. You can only get your team to overachieve so much, and I don't know if he has all the pieces that he needs with West Brom. So I'm interested to see what West Brom do in the winter transfer. If they try to get guys on loan from some of the bigger teams that maybe just aren't getting the time, because they need to do something.
Maybe a player from the championship who's overperforming or something like that, and they can get him for cheap. It all depends on their wage situation. It all depends on their COVID situation. I don't think they'll be buying players, that's for sure. It'll be a loan situation.
One of the other things from this week was Villa. I was surprised that they dropped points to Burnley, because one of the more interesting teams to watch this season, going forward with Grealish, with Oli Watkins, it's just.
Did you watch any of the game?
I did, and I was very surprised at how good Burnley looked. Burnley looked comfortable. I think they're getting confidence from that Arsenal win. They just look comfortable.
I think they are more comfortable in their defense and being able to absorb pressure versus where they were the first 5-6 games of the season, where they were dropping points. I honestly thought that Villa didn't finish their chances, and they had plenty of chances in that game to put the ball away. I thought that Grealish should have stepped up and put a shot on target. He put a ball over the net he beat 2 of the defenders, and he was right on the 18, and he just couldn't even get it on target. You got to get it on target. They had the chances to put the ball in the back of the net, and they just didn't take those chances. They looked the better team. I'm not saying that Burnley didn't play well. I thought that they had a game plan, and they stuck to it. They knew that Villa was going to have a bunch of chances, and they would try to hit in the counter, and that didn't work out, and they were able to. I mean, they're a solid defensive team. So
they had 27 shots versus 6 shots. They just got to win.
You got to win
because a third of those should be on goal, and then a third of those should be goals. You should be scoring 3 goals. I was just kind of surprised, because the other question I have when I just look at the table, I'm like, wow, is Villa in the title race? I don't think they're title contenders, but could they be hanging around? Because they've only played 11 games. They're on 19 points. So once again, if you assume that they win and they take full points from those games, then they're tied with Tottenham with points on 25. And that sounds wild, but Villa have been looking competitive. This is the team that beat the team that we believe to be not only the best in the Premier League, but one of the best in Europe, Liverpool. They beat them 7-2. There's any stock in that?
No, I don't. I think Liverpool had an off game. I think any Liverpool fan or person who watches Liverpool would say that was just an anomaly. They have West Brom, Palace, Chelsea, and United before their FA Cup game. Okay, the United and the Chelsea game will be kind of the telling points about whether Villa are for real or not, because Chelsea can throw a lot forward. United can, definitely throw a lot forward. Palace can maybe even surprise. I think West Brom will kind of be a banana peel for them, but West Brom tied City, so Who knows? I think all 4 of those games are tough. Do not expect them to win even 3 out of 4 of those games. I think they'll be lucky if they take 4 points out of those 4 games.
Only 4?
Only 4, yeah, like a tie and a win. Yeah.
It's fair. It's fair.
So, to be honest, the race is so tight at the top that even when they get those 2 games back in hand, I think one of them is versus Newcastle, right? And I don't know what the other game will be.
I think one of the other games is against the Manchester because they were part of the late starters. Yeah.
So, no, I actually don't. I don't think they're title contenders. I think that
are they Europa contenders?
No, neither. No.
Where do you think
too many
they're
good
gonna
teams? Everton.
I agree. But where do you think they're going to finish?
8th,
highest,
which is crazy for them. 8th to 10th, and that's awesome for them because they were like just trying to get out of relegation last season.
Yeah, they were battling relegation. Yeah. One of the other things you said was looking at FIFA's best 11. They name Alisson in goal, but then what they do is they name the best goalkeeper of the year Neuer.
Yeah.
Which makes zero sense to me. Does that make any sense to you? And my biggest question is why is John Oblak, not mentioned? The dude has like 80% shot stopping. He's like Peter Cech in his prime. He's a phenomenal
Neuer won a bunch of trophies last season for Bayern.
He did. He won 5.
He won 5 trophies. Alisson was the goalkeeper for Liverpool, who finally won a league. I think that they're a little biased towards Liverpool. I don't know if Trent Alexander-Arnold is the best left back last season. I honestly couldn't tell you, but it seems very generous that he's barely left back. He's a winger. Come on. He's not a great defender. He's a good play. He's an awesome player. He's not a great defender as you like a standard, like a typical defender that you would a box to box defender.
And then the final thing with the FIFA 11 was interesting that Klopp won. Yeah, he won the Premier League. I think it's more that they won the Premier League after having not won it for almost 30 years. You know, Flick at Bayern Munich, he wins 5 trophies at he wins a treble his first time in. It's honestly what Pep Guardiola did in 2009 where he came in and he won 6 trophies. He was 1 trophy off from tying that team, and he just wiped teams off. And this is the team that beat Barcelona. I said Barcelona 8-2. I think he got snubbed there. I think he should have won the Coach of the Year.
He's probably like, what do I have to do to
win
this
the
damn award?
Liverpool won the Premier League. He won 5 trophies.
They love Liverpool. FIFA loves Liverpool. It's a Liverpool agenda. It's a Liverpool agenda.
I mean, as a Chelsea fan, I certainly think they do. They've been given goals to get into the Champions League final, a la 2007. Luis Garcia's ghost goal, for all those who saw that.
It's the agenda. And then there was some chatter and some stuff on social media about how Klopp gets a lot of free reign to run around the technical area, whine during games to refs, and basically be loud and obnoxious, and nobody says anything to him because that's just Klopp being Klopp. If Mourinho ever did that, or if any other coach did, or if like Frank did that, they'd be getting yellow cards left and right. And Mourinho called it out. He's like, I could get yellow cards. I have to sit in my seat. I get a yellow card, but Klopp gets to run around and scream and pound his chest and basically run on the field, and nobody says anything to him.
But that's not FIFA. That's the FA. You're just saying football governing bodies in general are nicer to Liverpool. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know if I disagree with it, but I think anytime the team that's on the top, I think they always get preferential treatment. Anybody in Spain will tell you they call Barcelona UEFA Lona, FIFA Lona.
I think for me, I'm just sick of Liverpool. I think I'm just sick of them.
I'm not sick of them. They've been like, other than winning Champions Leagues in 05 and 07 and a FA Cup here or there, they haven't really been very dominant. They've been competitive but not dominant, so I'm not sick of them. I'm more sick of a team like City, and I'm sure other teams are more sick of teams like Chelsea. We've won a lot more. We've won probably 8 times as much trophies in the last 2 decades as Liverpool has. And then one of the last things I want to say for this week was, I don't know if you saw that Footy Emporium put this up, and it says William in the Premier League this season. It basically 799 minutes played, 800 minutes played, 1 shot on target.
Yeah.
And this comes out about a day before they played this week's game. And lo and behold, guess who wasn't playing?
Willian.
I wonder if somebody saw that and they're like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't play Willian. We bought him for all this money. We signed him on a 3-year contract. And then he plays and he doesn't do anything. Because they played Southampton. Walcott scored the goal. That was kind of like That was probably another talking point from this week where it's like Walcott goes back to Arsenal, opens up his account, scoring against them. But them not playing Willian, I think, was a really good move, and it was good to see for Arsenal fans to see Aubameyang get a goal. They put the stat up during the game because I didn't know. They've had 7 red cards in the last, in a certain period of time. And in that period of time, it was 12 months maybe. And in that period of time, the only team to come close in the Premier League has only had 3. So Arsenal continue to be caught out of position, and they don't have the responsibility or the maturity in the box or in and around those positions where you shouldn't grab a guy. Just let him go. Maybe make it uncomfortable. Maybe make it so he's going to shoot off balance. But don't grab a jersey. Don't do this. So Arsenal just I thought they're going to win that game when Abba scored. I was like, oh, they're going to win this game. They had the momentum. And then, Gabriel grabs his jersey and just walks off. They just continually find ways to shoot themselves in the foot and lose points against teams that Southampton's obviously a competitive team. They're in the top 4 right now. But I think Arsenal could have won that game.
They're undisciplined. I knew they were going to drop points that game. I predicted a loss because Southampton's been playing well, especially when Walcott scored so early. But they found a way to stay in it, playing some of the players like Nketiah, who has been playing well in Europa, and giving him a shot in the Premier League was probably the smartest decision Arteta's made in a while. It was an actual tactical choice that panned out a little bit. I mean, you've been saying bench Aubameyang, but then he scores, so.
I would say bench Aubameyang more than anything just to send a message.
They benched Lacazette. He looked real good in the bench.
He and Willian need to bring some card games, maybe get a 1,000-piece puzzle because they need to just sit down for a while.
I mean, Lacazette is dumpster fire.
Jesus. Well, you want to talk about the upcoming week's matches? Liverpool, Crystal Palace. That's the first game on Saturday. It's at Selhurst. And you were saying to me that you think Liverpool are going to lose this because they made 0 subs when they were chasing the game against Tottenham. Do you still hold that?
I don't think they'll lose. I think it'll be a tie. But I think I was just a little salty after that game.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
I was a little perturbed. They will drop points, but I think it'll be a tie. Palace, honestly, Benteke, you might find the back of the net.
No Zaha, no goals.
No Zaha, no goals. But they're not great away. They're not great away from home.
They're not.
They're not. So I could see them dropping points. I could also see them winning 3-0. I mean, maybe Firmino and Salah's always good for a goal. So
don't sleep on Mane.
Don't sleep on Mane either.
All right, Southampton and City.
It's a good matchup. I think it's a little much for City to handle. I think Southampton's better.
And it's at St. Mary's. I think Southampton 2-1.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if Aguero plays again. He looked pretty he didn't really have much impact when he came in as a sub. I still think they're missing a piece moving forward. And it's either Sterling needs to come on and start scoring goals or something. I don't know. We've been saying it looked flat. So I could see Southampton taking some points. I agree with that. 2-1.
It was also, if I'm Sterling, Mahrez, Gabriel, or Aguero, and I see De Bruyne, one of the only Premier League guys on the FIFA starting 11. Actually, I think he was the only other than Van Dijk and Alisson, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, I forgot all the Liverpool players. But moving forward in the top 6, he was the only one. And so if I'm those guys, I'm like, dude, we got to start scoring. We have as they voted, the best 10 in the world behind us. There's zero excuse for City to not score a lot of goals.
Yeah.
They just need to finish. Those lugs up front need to finish. This is the game that could be Arteta's last walk in the sun. Our Arsenal, Everton. What do you think?
Everton's way better than this Arsenal team.
I think Everton's going to bury this Arsenal team. And they won't have Gabriel, so David Luiz gets the tip from the start, who, while I believe is a good vocal leader on the field, he's just exposed. Richarlison's going to roast him. A Brazilian battle, remember.
Yeah, he's just going to turn him as every chance he gets. He has the skill and the speed to beat.
It's at Goodison. This is going to be, if you want to see something that's going to be hard, I don't even know if Arsenal fans are going to watch this, the impending doom of what could happen. Everton at Goodison in the last, normally, generally, they're going to put up a good fight, but in the last, 12 months, they've been really not fun to play.
3-0.
3-0. I'm going 3-0. Newcastle, Fulham, what do you think?
Newcastle. Bounce back. Callum Wilson will find the back of the net. I think 2-1.
I'm going to go Fulham.
Although, yeah, because you know what?
I'm going to go Fulham.
Fulham's playing better.
Fulham 1-0 upset. It's going to have to grind it out to get a win away at Newcastle.
I like that. I'll be rooting for Fulham in that game. I hate Newcastle.
You hate Newcastle. Why?
I don't know. Just don't like them. Don't like the jerseys. Don't like.
Did they do something to you? Is this just like a childhood memory?
I was in support of like the Saudi group trying to buy them and become like the next big club.
Become the next city?
Yeah, like the next city or something. Because I think that changing the dynamic would be good for the league. Anyway, go ahead. Next game.
Brighton Hove and Sheffield, your team that's going to finish in the Europa League.
Oh, Sheffield? No. They're gonna get relegated. But
Wow, you've changed your tune. You finally changed your tune.
did not change my tune. I think they. No, I
you
said
pay
they're
for
they're gonna
banners
they're
to be
gonna start winning
flown.
games.
You pay for banners to be flown over England that said Sheffield for Europa.
No, they will win a game or two here and there. So if there's a game to win, this would be the game. McGoldrick maybe.
Dude, McGoldrick's on fire. On fire.
Well, he's playing. He has to play well because when they get relegated, he needs to find a Premier League club.
Facts. Do you think they're gonna beat Brighton Hove? I think Brighton Hove's gonna beat them by a goal.
No. Sheffield will win 2-1.
Wow. What about your boys versus Jamie Vardy?
Vardy, dude.
Vardy guy.
Madison, Vardy are a lot to handle, but I think Tottenham, very strong defensive unit. They will prevail and they're back at home, I think.
You guys are gonna park the bus for a long time, and all of your three midfielders are gonna be on yellows by the end of this because James Madison is fire.
Still think they're going to win.
I think they're gonna win, but the bus will be parked and Ndombele will just be taking out ACLs.
Ndombele didn't play in the game against Liverpool. They went for a more defensive option in Lo Celso, and they didn't play Reguilon. They didn't bring Reguilon until late. So I think Reguilon's going to be rearing to go, get the start, and they will win. Son to Kane, Kane to Son, and then maybe Bergwijn will get some redemption and score a goal.
I'm actually going to go for a tie on this. I don't know score, maybe 2-2. I'm going to go with the tie.
Oh, they're not going to give up 2 goals, dude. 2 goals? Come on.
Dude, Jamie Vardy.
What? He's done not that much.
Yeah, that's scary. So it's either one way. He's going to score a bunch of goals or he's going to be quiet. And you'll have to see what side of the coin you get. But Madison is nice.
Madison is nice.
He's nice.
I predict 3-1. I think Leicester, they go slumping.
Tie.
They go
are not going to enjoy this
slumping.
game.
They're going slumping.
You're not going to enjoy this game.
No, we're not going to enjoy it. Nobody enjoys watching Spurs these days.
The Salt Bay will be back after this.
Somebody from the Boston Spurs group on Facebook summed it up pretty well and said that it's not really enjoyable to watch Spurs even when they win. Which I disagree with because, I am a Spurs fan, but that's just the way they play. But I still think they're going to win 3-1. They're going to come back, take a lot of positives from the Liverpool game.
Give me some more positives from the Liverpool game.
If Bergwijn didn't hit the post and they went up 2-1, they might have won that game.
You realize when you say stuff like this, you sound like Sox fans up until about 2003, 2004. Dude, we coulda, woulda won it.
No, I'm saying that you can take positives from the best team, playing the best team in the league. I'm only losing 2-1. The Salah goal was off a deflection, and the Firmino goal was on a set piece in the 90th minute. And so, yes, it was bad. But still, in that game, they could have easily not scored any goals. I mean, Liverpool got lucky.
It's going to be an interesting one. I think you're gonna tie. I think Leicester's gonna.
You still talking about this game?
Manchester United leads. Man United leads.
Leeds, baby. 3-2.
Really? It's at Old Trafford. I'm going United by 2 goals.
No, Leeds. Here's the thing about Leeds.
Leeds is a sieve. They give up a lot of goals.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Leeds. They're real fast. They're real quick little guys.
Oh, I think Harry Maguire, he could get a red card this game. He or Lindelof are going to find themselves in card trouble and may not finish the game because they are like Rodrigo's starting to fire, Bamford,
Harrison,
hat-trick Bamford.
Alioski's even fat quick. They're going to be making runs down the wing. Wan-Bissaka has to defend him, and Wan-Bissaka is definitely going to pick up a yellow card early in this game.
Wan-Bissaka's a horror show. I don't know why people think he's good. I think he's a horror show.
All right, let's not talk about Wan-Bissaka. Obi-Wan-Bissaka.
Obi-Wan, what the hell are you doing? West Brom, Villa. What do you think on this one? I'm going to go with Sam Allardyce's first game in charge is going to be a loss, an L.
Because Villa's better?
I think Villa's really nice. It's at the Hawthorns, though, so that helps. But I think Villa's super nice. I would not want to play Villa.
I agree. Villa's better.
They're just nice. They're just playing together as a team, and I don't know. How about Burnley Wolves?
Wolves. After their performance at Chelsea, very
Wolves.
Yeah, they're very They're rallying behind
Jimenez.
injury. They're like, we need a Podence. Podence is like, we got to play better. And then Neto's like, yeah.
Podence is super nasty also. As we talked about, he made Havertz look like he'd never played soccer before. It's really embarrassing.
It's the Portuguese national team.
2 goals to a Jimenez and Jota-less Wolves. That's just not good. It's really rough for Chelsea right now.
They're a very solid team.
All right, well, let's see what you think about the last game, Chelsea-West Ham.
Derby, London Derby.
It's at the Bridge.
It's at the Bridge.
It's the only thing I really got going for them because they're right behind us in the table by 1 point. We really need this to kind of separate ourselves between the other London teams and Chelsea. Chelsea should be the premier team right now in London. There should be no doubt about that.
I mean, they tied Palace, right?
Chelsea?
West Ham this week.
Yes.
They tied Palace. He came from behind to tie Palace. They went down early. West Ham. They're an anomaly. I can never predict West Ham right. That's my problem.
No, nor I. They beat us last year,
Yes.
3-2 at the end.
They beat you twice.
Yeah, they had the double.
My question for you is like, what's the deal with Havertz, and is he going to play?
Well, I sent you something that I saw, I think, on Instagram, and I really liked it. And it was that, like, Chelsea have always been a knee-jerk reaction team, much like Real Madrid, or less like Real Madrid. Chelsea's really knee-jerk, where if we don't like something, we change it out exceedingly quick. We've had ballers come through Chelsea, and the second they don't pan out, we just let them go. We had Falcao come through. Obviously, this is post-knee injury. That didn't work out. He was there for 6 months. I'm just going to talk about 2 Colombians. We had Juan Cuadrado comes through. It doesn't work out. We ship him back. Those guys have both done really well at other clubs. Now, more specifically, we've had Lukaku. Doesn't seem to pan out in the Premier League in general because he didn't really do anything with United or Chelsea. When he was with Everton, he was a problem. We've also had Kevin De Bruyne, who has now since won multiple titles, multiple Premier Leagues. We also had Mo Salah for some time. So I think the idea with Havertz is like he could potentially be a top 20 player in the world. He has that potential, and they just need to try to pull that out of him. And I'm hoping that Frank continues to give him starts and chances to try to get there because Chelsea's whole thing is like, dude, if you're not cutting it, you're gone. And we've done that with Lukaku. We've done that with Kevin De Bruyne. We've done that with Salah. So I read something, and it was one of the Chelsea group that's basically saying Havertz is still super young. He's like 21 years old. We got him for $80 million, but we bought his potential. We maybe didn't buy his current form, and I thought that was interesting. But it just doesn't fit currently where Chelsea is, which is we're trying to be title contenders now. And so if we're trying to be title contenders now, I like him playing FA Cup games, League Cup games, Champions League games if it's in the second game and that's going to be at home because we qualified first and we played really well. But the thing is we play Atletico, so I don't really know. He finds himself at an interesting time. It would have been better to have picked up Havertz last season where Frank basically had carte blanche to have a shitty season, even though we finished tied for 4th with United because we weren't chasing a title. With all the investment they've done now, we're chasing a title. I think it's less about Havertz, more about Havertz and Werner because if they could get on the same page, Chelsea would be title contenders easily.
Here's why I struggle with Chelsea at West Ham this week, and I'm just going to talk about this week.
Chelsea's at home.
No Ziyech. Havertz isn't firing. Werner doesn't seem to be able to score against teams in the top 13. Pulisic is still coming off that injury and looks a little off the mark. So if Pulisic can find some form, I think if Werner can find some form, and they can just find something together, and then Giroud has looked good. I think Giroud had a goal against Wolves. Then I think they'll be fine. I think they'll maybe score 2 or 3 goals and win the game and give up a goal. Mendy's come back down to earth. He's not like the savior, but he's good. He's solid. He's very solid. He's way better than Kepa. But he let in the 2 goals for the first time this season. I hope his confidence, I think he doesn't get in his head. I think he's fine. But to give up a goal isn't the worst thing in the world. And I think you guys can still win 2-1, 3-1. Stay solid in the back with Silva, with Chilwell, with Zuma. Zuma looked a little off last week. He almost scored a header, but he should have challenged that last Neto shot, and he shouldn't have given that up. So
he shouldn't have given that up. One thing I will say, I think you're totally right. I like Pulisic. I like Werner. I like Giroud coming down the middle. I think Havertz needs to not start. And you said this was your idea. I think they got to play Kovacic and Conte behind and put Mount in the 10.
Yep.
instead of doing what they tried to do last week, which was have Conte in an inverted, have Conte sit behind with Havertz and Mason Mount up top. It just, the balance wasn't right. So I think maybe Havertz doesn't start this game, because what I don't like is when they put Havertz up top. It's just not his position.
It's not.
Because he starts to play it like a false 9, but in a 4-3-3, what they're trying to do, he ends up clogging up space that should be between the 10 and Giroud, the 9. So it doesn't work out as well. And he just can't find his space. And it also throws off Christian, because then he doesn't ever find himself in like an overload situation. So I don't know. I do expect Chelsea to win this game.
Christian's got to find ways to play direct at a defense. He's not going to get these cute balls in or whatever, and he's got to play direct. He's got to beat a man or two men one-on-one and take a shot. That's the way he has to play, preferably coming from the outside in. The way he played at the restart, the way he played at the restart. I think that's what they need to go. They're going to look at film and they're going to say, well, we got to get Christian back doing what he was doing during the restart. And that's the way we can score goals.
I agree.
I think Reece James looks very solid. I think their defense can handle West Ham. Don't think that's going to be an issue. It's like we're talking about. It's the attacking options. They need to figure out a way to work with one another to score goals. That's just it. And it's not just Giroud. It's got to be all of them. They all got to contribute. So, yeah.
Let's do some fantasy. I don't know if you looked at it. It's got shaken up.
It's gotten dark for me.
Well, not too dark. Not as dark as mine.
Oh yeah.
In the bottom, we still have Graham's gang. In the basement, Murder on Zidane's floor, also in the basement. Shikaka, Diego, still in the basement. And then at the top, you have the Bandoleros in 1. They moved up. Jesus Larry moved up to 2nd. And you dropped to 3rd with the Bunkers. And I moved up a whole position from 11th to 10th, baby. But I've gone from 18th to 10th. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
It was an off week for me, but it was also an off week for 1 and 2 as well. So we'll see. I got to make some moves. I really would like to get Salah, but I can't. I can afford him. So
yeah, you got to take another mortgage out.
Yep.
I don't have Dave's picks tonight.
Midweek, it's tough.
Midweek is super tough, and we will record again on Monday.
You didn't comment on my choice of attire for this call. Please tell the listeners what I'm wearing.
Phenomenal. This is an old school Tottenham Kappa jersey back when they had like those super tight fits. It's like Gareth Bale's like first season when he was probably still sitting on the bench. It's like 04, 05, 06. It's very old school.
It's 04, 05 because it's the year I started watching Tottenham. It's got the Red Thompson logo on it.
Yeah, it's classic. It's a You should take a picture and we'll throw it up because it's a classic jersey.
And I got this jersey when I was in high school, and then it was at my parents' house, and I found it. So still fits, sort of. It's very tight.
Sort of.
It's a very Euro cut, I would say.
That's a nice way of putting it.
It's a Euro cut. I am generally the same size as I was in high school. Generally. Muscle weighs more than fat.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's the dad bod T-shirt. It just says muscle weighs more than fat.
Bod.
The dude's like pregnant.
But it is a Euro cut. It's medium, and it's still very tight.
Yeah, it's extra medium.
It's medium. It's got that Italian cut.
Well, good luck to your team, Jeffrey. I think it's going to be I think both our teams are going to have a tough week.
Well, you're playing on Monday, so you got a whole weekend to think about it.
I do. I'm excited.
Back to playing Sunday, 9:15, nice, bright and early, and I'll be watching it, eating my Cheerios and sipping my coffee, and watching Spurs.
Ciao.
Going home and watching FIFA TV. Sonny, Puskas Award, the best goal of the season. Of course, Sonny.
I'm hungrier and more determined because I've rested longer than I ever wanted to rest. That's nearly 3 years in May. So I've never been so refreshed and never been so ready and eager to come back, because sometimes this job can wear you down. And I think that, having done so many years on the trot, I think after Newcastle, I think it was, when I actually realised how many years I'd been sat there as a manager through all them divisions trying to get to the top, and just how much it takes out of you. And you realise that when you actually get a break. But this break went on so long, and I had so much pent-up energy, I needed to expend it as quick as I could, and this is where I can expend all the energy I've got reserved ready for this battle.
Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Twitch, @Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned, or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.